Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lights On Leadership interview presented by the Lloyd D. Levinson Institute of Gaming, Hospitality, and Tourism at Stockton University. My name is Jane Buckenevich, and I'm the Faculty Director of Light, and I'm joined today by Anthony Catanoso, who's the owner and operator of the famous Steel Pier in Atlantic City. Thank you, Anthony, for doing this with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Jane.
So I'm going to ask you a really broad question, and you can answer it any way you'd like. Who is Anthony Catanoso?
Well, I am a local businessman in Atlantic City. My background has been I've been a background in political arena, insurance, and then ultimately the amusement business with my brothers Bill and Chuck and my partner Ed Alwell. So we started out in the insurance business years ago and started specializing in amusement insurance, and then eventually teamed up with some partners to start building some amusement attractions. And we found our way to Steel Pier back in 1992, and we were able to make a deal with Donald Trump back then, who owned the pier, for a 2-year lease, and we wound up staying in a 1 and 2 year lease set up with him for 20 years until we bought it back in 2011.
Excellent. Wow. So, what would you consider your greatest current challenge or current success?
On the challenge side of it, it's the economic impact that the economy has on our client base. So if things are tight, if gas prices are high, if inflation is high, it affects their disposable income. So, and their discretionary income when it comes to travel and entertainment. So that's a challenge, and it has been a challenge in the past. Also, weather's been a challenge the last few years, but this year especially. Heat during the day, pop-up showers at night. It's almost like a Miami type forecast every week. And even if the rain doesn't come, the forecast keeps people at bay. So you get forecasted out as much as you get rained out in our business, which is challenging. But the other thing is labor costs. Labor costs have gone up exponentially in the last 3 or 4 years. And, what once used to be a $7 or $8 minimum wage is now $15, $16. For let's say a high school kid that's running a ride, it's expensive, and you cannot pass all those costs onto your customer, and you have tax issues. So they're the challenges, and that's something that we deal with every day. We try to mitigate as best we can without hitting the customer in the pocketbook, because they're already struggling to get there, whether it be gas or overall income limits. So we have to be careful and be we have to create a balance.
Just a question as a follow-up. Did the increase in the minimum wage, did that help you to attract employees? Because I know several years ago it was hard to find employees. Has that helped in that regard?
Here's the unique thing. We never had trouble attracting employees because the local kids, and we employ a lot of local kids. They love to come to work in an amusement park, run rides, work games, work in the food stands. Never had a problem. Always had an abundance. And then we always had a great gap filler with the J1 students, and there used to be a time where we had as many as 140 J1 students through the course of the summer. So now we're at about 80. But the program is excellent. It's an excellent program for not only us, but for every shore community. So we never had a problem. All that minimum wage did was cost us a lot of money to the bottom line.
Any success stories in recent years that you can share with us?
Well, we've always prided ourselves on being able to bring new attractions to the market. In some cases, in several cases, we would introduce a new ride or attraction to the United States, but in a few cases, the world. For instance, we had the first slingshot or reverse ejection seat that had no rubber. It was all steel cables and springs. We introduced that to the world. We were the first one to operate in Atlantic City, and also our spinning coaster. In 1996, we introduced the Crazy Mouse spinning coaster, which was the first spinning coaster ever. So, we just replaced that with a brand new one. Now, instead of the Crazy Mouse, now we call it the Crazy Crab. It's a different theme, but it's another beautiful spinning coaster that just opened this year. So, in order to compete with the bigger regional parks, we're a mom and pop park by and large. We pride ourselves on new technology for rides and attractions, and we bring those rides and attractions in every couple of years. So that's been our success. Now, and
Excellent.
the other thing is, we have a very unique situation because we're 1,000 feet out of the ocean. We've got one of the most unique properties in the United States, and it's an attraction. I mean, we're an iconic 127-year-old brand, Steel Pier, so
Yep.
that helps us tremendously. And we're very proud of that.
Excellent. So the next question is, how have you seen Atlantic City evolve over the years? What's different from many years ago? You've been here in this area for a while. What's different? What's the same as maybe 10 years ago?
Well, when we came to Atlantic City back in 1992, there was 44 million visitors a year because of the gaming aspect. Well, that's basically uh, has dwindled down to 25 million. That has a huge impact. I don't care what business you're in, you're going to feel the effect if your population, your visitation gets cut in half. Okay, and that was simply because of the evolving competitive gaming markets in the area. And back in 1994, when New Jersey had a chance to do sports betting, it was stopped by one of the U.S. senators. I won't name names. And that had Atlantic City been able to start sports betting back then, they would have never caught it because they would have been so far ahead of the game. The competitive markets, in my opinion, I'm not a gaming expert, but in my opinion, it wouldn't have made a difference what came in because Atlantic City would have built such an infrastructure and have been so far ahead of the game they wouldn't have been able to catch him. But that's the big change, the drop in visitation because of the competitive market. However, what we're doing now, and that has changed, like I said, over the last 35 years. But what we're doing now is rebranding. We're taking what we have. Uh, I think we have better properties, nicer properties, even though it's a smaller number. Now, on our end of the boardwalk, we've rebranded our end of the boardwalk as North Beach Atlantic City. So from Tennessee Avenue all the way down to Oriental Avenue, which includes resorts, Steel Pier, Hard Rock, Showboat, Ocean, and even the Absecon Lighthouse. We rebranded that as North Beach. It's a family friendly area. It's safe. It's clean, and a lot of the Atlantic City is safe and clean, despite the perception. It's safe and clean, and we have in just a couple miles 200 destinations. If you think about it, between restaurants, the pier, water park, hotels, gaming, it offers everything in our area. And I think different pockets of the boardwalk, if they try rebranding in that sense, it'll help. So you feel a definite difference down our end of the boardwalk.
Excellent. That kind of leads into my next question, and you talked a lot about how all these new attractions and the north end of the boardwalk. What is your vision for the future of Atlantic City? What do you think will be the key issues and trends over the next few years?
Well, I think what they need to do is push the fact that Atlantic City is a well-rounded resort destination, something for everybody. You can walk onto my pier. An 85-year-old grandparent can come on with their great grandkids, and they can get on my Ferris wheel and ride in a climate-controlled cabin and go 225 feet in the air and enjoy the views. And then that same group can go and split off, and the grandparents or the parents can go into the casino and gamble. The kids can go do something else. Um, there's the water park. So by uh, I would say by emphasizing the diversity in what people can do in Atlantic City is going to be the key to the future. And let's face it, nobody can replicate the greatest beach and boardwalk in the world. The largest boardwalk in the United States, the first boardwalk ever. Um, that's something they just cannot be reckoned with or replicated. And the more they build their activities and attractions around those natural amenities, then the better off we're going to be. So you see beach bars, cabanas, clubs popping up now that that just play to the natural beauty of the beach and the boardwalk, and those places are successful. So that's got to be a key for the future. When we have excellent dining, we have excellent entertainment. And even we're a small pier, but we have entertainment, live entertainment every day, every night out there for people to enjoy. Activities on the pier. You can have a wedding on the pier. You can have a family reunion on the pier, 1,000 feet out in the ocean, overlooking the city. It's amazing. So these are all natural amenities that other places can't replicate. They can't compete with that. So that's the key to the future, pushing our natural amenities.
Excellent. Well, you kind of answered what was going to be my next question, is what role will Steel Pier play in the future of Atlantic City? And you've answered it perfectly with adding a new, well, not a new, but an additional attraction to gaming, which is the key to competing with the other gaming models. Do you have anything else you wanted to add about that?
No, like I said, the challenge we have in our business, which people in other businesses see, is the supply chain. The supply chain is affected on a global level, so it's harder to get parts. It's harder to get replacement items that you need. So that's something we have to be careful of. That's something we've got to plan for. So in our business, my guys, they will spend the month of August, the whole month of August, preparing their their parts list, their needs list. They have to say what if. They got to do a lot of what ifs. So they've got to prepare. So for going forward, especially in this climate, you don't know what's going to happen with importing. The price of importing, tariffs, all has an effect. We saw 18 months ago a spike in shipping. So I mean, where a container would cost you 4,000 to ship from Europe to the United States, went to 20,000. So I mean, so now it's back down to reasonable again. But these are the type of challenges we've got to be careful, and you have to do a lot of planning and head it off. So if you need to buy something now, even though you've got to lay out the money and put the part on the shelf, you have to do it because the supply chain globally has been affected. I mean, and that's happening over the years, not just because of one administration or another. That's the marketplace.
Yep. Okay, so you've been a member of the Light Advisory Board for many years, one of our most valued members. What role do you see Light playing in the future of Atlantic City?
Well, I think Light is an excellent group that makes that collaborates all the entities in the area. It brings business, gaming, entertainment, hospitality. It brings it all together, and the data collecting that Light provides is priceless for guys like me. We can see the trends, we see what's happening, and the nice part is we can do our surveys, we can do our market studies, and we can share that with Light, and Light's able to distribute that amongst all the other players in the city, and it's a great tool, but it's a great tool to have everybody come together and under one moniker. It's been very successful. I'm happy to be a part of it.
We're so happy to have you and all of our other advisory board members. Is there anything else you'd like to comment on concerning your vision or your background that I haven't asked or that you haven't covered yet?
One thing I'd like to mention is, while other towns are seeing problems on their boardwalk and with local use and things like that, Atlantic City hasn't seen that because we have such a great police force, and I can't give enough credit to Chief Sarkos. Um, but we didn't have one single incident last summer or this summer, and the police presence has been excellent up there. It's clean, it's safe. Atlantic City's always suffered from a perception problem, but people need to come and see it and experience it for themselves. But I have to tell you, we're far below the national average on crime and things of that nature. People don't realize it. We're not a city of 18,000 or 14,000. We're a city of 26 million a summer because it balloons. And to have those kind of numbers and to have enjoy the safety and cleanliness factor that we have, it's remarkable. And I think what's key and what's going to be key going forward, and always has been, is that state and local government need to stay in lockstep. They need to work together. There can't be any bickering, but state and local government's key to our success. And I'm hopeful that continues.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time. And I think this was a very valuable interview for our viewers. And again, have a great day and thank you for your time today.
Thanks very much, Jane. Great to see you.
You too.